Dr. Wells-Strozier, and thank you so much for joining me tonight on CHEA Use of Knowledge is Power. My guest in the studio is Ms. Taylor Jameson with Legal Services of Eastern Michigan. Tonight we'll be talking about the partnership Legal Services and the Center for Higher Educational Achievement have together. So sit back, relax, and enjoy tonight's show. Are you over the age of 25 and you haven't graduated from high school? Are you over the age of 30 and you're having problems with basic reading and math calculations? And you need to return to school but you're afraid of the traditional classroom setting? Are you over the age of 50 and you're having problems finding a job because you don't know how to use a computer? Well, don't worry, CHEA Adult Skills Center is here for you. We work with adults aged 25 years of age and older in basic reading, math, GED prep, and computer training. So please give us a call today because CHEA is here to help you. Hi, I'm Dr. Wells-Strozier, and thank you again for tuning in to CHEA Use of Knowledge is Power. Tonight, my guest is Ms. Taylor Jameson from Legal Services of Eastern Michigan. Taylor, thank you so much for joining me on tonight.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's awesome to be here.
Great, great. We're going to talk about the partnership that you and I have, which is the Center for Higher Educational Achievement, with Legal Services of Eastern Michigan. So would you like to share what that partnership is?
Yeah, so I think this is an awesome partnership. It's funded through the Ruth Mott Foundation, and the funding basically allows me to come on site here at CHEA and make sure that I'm able to see clients on the east side here.
Okay.
The program that I'm under, it's specifically tailored to North and East Flint. So
okay, so let's go back for the viewers. What is considered North and East Flint? Because when I opened up the Adult Learning Center over here on Flint's east side, I never knew this was considered North Flint.
yeah.
So a lot of residents would think that a certain zip code represents a certain side of the city of Flint. So can you explain what those boundaries are?
Yeah, so I know Flint's zip code situation is kind of crazy.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah. But this project is specifically, it goes by zip code.
Yes.
So it's 48504, 48505, and those are kind of the traditional north end
True.
of Flint. And then zip code 48506, which, you know,
48506.
everyone thinks is east side, but it technically is northeast side, so it's
Northeast
still
Flint.
under the program.
Yes. Okay. So if you live in those three zip codes, this is who we specifically are speaking to if you're residents of the city of Flint. Zip codes 48504, 48505, and 48506. Okay, go ahead.
So this program, it basically lets me come to people where they're at. Instead of making them do the drive down to our offices downtown or have to call into our office, go through the phone intake process, get an appointment 2 weeks out or something like that, because our main downtown office is pretty busy all
That
the
it
time.
is.
This program allows me to come up here, meet people in their own neighborhoods. So, you know, over here on the east side, I can come to CHEA. Basically, it's an on-demand sort of situation where if they contact you, Marseille, then you'll let me know and we'll set up a time to come and meet the clients.
Okay. What type of services up under this partnership do you cover?
So I can cover any sort of civil legal issue.
And what is civil legal issues?
So basically what that would cover is anything except for criminal law. So if you're arrested, you know, if you had to go to jail or the police are involved, then it's a criminal law matter.
Okay.
I would not be able to represent you for that. The only other thing that I wouldn't be able to do is a traffic ticket.
Okay.
So besides those, civil legal aid pretty much encompasses everything from, you know, if you have an issue with your landlord, or if you're having some financial difficulties because you need to file bankruptcy or you're being garnished, or if you have a family law problem, you know, you need parenting time, you're having an issue with getting your child support, or you're having an issue paying child support, all of those kind of fall under the umbrella of civil legal aid.
Okay.
The only sort of criminal thing that, or tangentially criminal law thing that we do is expungement. So if you had if you had convictions in the past, you can come and talk to us and we can see if we can get those convictions expunged.
Now, is there a certain time period if I had a felony from 20 years ago? Could I still come and try to get an expungement?
Yeah, so the law in Michigan right now is that you have to wait 5 years from the date that you finished either you finish your sentence or you finish probation.
Okay.
For most people, it's from the date that they ended probation.
Ah.
But anytime after that 5 years, you're going to be eligible to seek expungement.
Okay.
Right now, the law in Michigan is really strict. You can only get an expungement if you have a max of 2 misdemeanors and 1 felony.
Only 1 felony, not multiple felonies. Okay.
If you had 2 felonies, unfortunately, right now, you wouldn't be able to get an expungement.
Okay.
However, a law just passed, not just passed, but this past year, a law passed in the Michigan House that would significantly open up the expungement process.
Okay.
You know, there's talk now of possibly, you know, we could automatically expunge things instead of going through a court proceeding. Also, the law might allow us to expunge even if someone has multiple felonies.
Okay.
So the law hasn't gotten there, you know, a law hasn't been finalized yet, but you know, the gossip kind of is that hopefully by the end of this year, beginning of next year, there might be a change in law on expungement, and it's going to open up the door for so many people. Because, you know, there's a lot of people who had, even if you have 2 felonies from 1 incident, you wouldn't be able to get the expungement. So, you know, let's say you had been, when you were, you know, 18 or something, like 20 some years ago, if you had been picked up by the police and you had like a concealed weapon, and then you also got a charge, like a couple misdemeanors on top of that because you were driving. And right now, even if you have multiple convictions from one basic incident, you know, most of the time you're not going to be able to get the expungement.
Okay.
But in the future here, hopefully you will, because the law is going to become much more liberal.
Are you over the age of 25 and you haven't graduated from high school? Are you over the age of 30 and you're having problems with basic reading and math calculations, and you need to return to school but you're afraid of the traditional classroom setting? Are you over the age of 50 and you're having problems finding a job because you don't know how to use a computer? Well, don't worry, CHEA Adult Skills Center is here for you. We work with adults aged 25 years of age and older in basic reading, math, GED prep, and computer training. So please give us a call today because CHEA is here to help you. Okay, so you've been here at CHEA several times in order to meet with some of the residents for some of their legal issues. I am not privy to what goes on when you're one-to-one conference with those individuals, but I know that you met with someone regarding custody. So what services or what can you handle up under this program when it comes to custody issues?
So when it comes to custody issues, unfortunately, it always tends to be a case-by-case basis because family law tends to be an area of law where things just get so individualistic. Everyone's custody order ends up looking different. Everyone's parenting time, child support arrangements, it can be really individualized. But what we can do is, depending on the situation, we'll be able to help you with parenting time. Now, we'll be able to assist in sometimes with child support. A lot of times with child support, depending on what the court has set, if you're paying child support, I can maybe, if there's been a significant change in circumstances, we can get child support modified. If there hasn't been a big change in circumstances, then people tend to be better off going to friend of the court, meeting with their caseworker, and just seeing about making a different payment arrangement, which is different than having a legal basis for modifying child support.
Alrighty.
And then when it comes to custody, you know, we'll do cases where we just had a case in this area where, you know, the father was a custodial parent. The non-custodial parent had filed to get sole physical and sole legal custody of the kids. We were able to defend that case so that he was able to maintain sole physical, sole legal custody of the kids. We're not able to take every single case when it comes to that, just because family law could be such a huge area. But we definitely, you know, if there's a certain priority to cases, if the children, if you feel that your children are in danger, so if you think that there's any like a child abuse situation or anything like that going on, or if you yourself are a victim of domestic violence, then your case kind of goes to the top of the pile, and we make sure that we can work with people in those cases. Now, if you don't have those extenuating circumstances, we'll still be happy to like talk to you, do an intake, Sometimes we'll be able to represent you in court. Sometimes we can't represent you in court, but we'll help you fill out the paperwork that you need to represent yourself before a referee.
That's a lot by itself right there, the paperwork.
Yeah, because the paperwork sometimes, sometimes people even, they agree, they've worked out some sort of parenting time schedule, but they don't know how to put it on the books correctly.
Okay.
We can guide people through those sort of processes. If you do want to come and talk to me about a family law issue, it'll be a lot easier on me and it'll save you time if before you do, you go to court, you get a copy of your custody order, and if there's a child support order in place, you go to front of the court and you get what's called a financial detail report, which shows the child support payments and what you're supposed to be paying. Because otherwise, I'm totally happy to do an intake and have you come back, but I can't do much without seeing that paperwork in front of me. So if they want to talk about family law issues, bring me child support order from front of the court and your custody order from the actual 7th Circuit Court, the clerk's office.
Are you over the age of 25 and you haven't graduated from high school? Are you over the age of 30 and you're having problems with basic reading and math calculations? And you need to return to school but you're afraid of the traditional classroom setting? Are you over the age of 50 and you're having problems finding a job because you don't know how to use a computer? Well, don't worry, CHEA Adult Skills Center is here for you. We work with adults aged 25 years of age and older in basic reading, math, GED prep, and computer training. So please give us a call today because CHEA is here to help you. Another thing that you've been here for is for immigration. Alrighty, so what's some of the beauty points about helping with immigration?
So and that's something that we didn't realize, legal services didn't realize there was such a need for immigration services.
Very much so.
But especially here on the east side, there's a lot of need for immigration services. Now, what we can do, what we've done is we've helped, we've done citizenship cases, which are super rewarding. That's where someone who's been a green card holder for at least 5 years and has met all the other requirements under U.S. law, doesn't have criminal record, everything like that, we're able to get them their citizenship and make sure that they become a full citizen of the U.S. with all the rights, able to vote, able to travel outside of the country, doing all of those things, and that's been awesome. Like, I love those. That's super rewarding.
We as Americans take a lot of things for granted. The information they need to learn about the United States is stuff that we as Americans, unless you're teaching social studies,
most people would not pass it. Like, some of the questions are pretty intense.
Very much so.
Like, I know one of the questions they'll ask is like, how many members are there in the House of Representatives?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, that's not a gimme sort of question. Like, those are messed up.
It's not. So you've also been here to help seniors with, I want to call it the Lady Bird.
Yeah, so with, different sorts of methods of estate planning, and that does include like ladybird deeds. It also includes doing like powers of attorney, either a healthcare or a financial power of attorney, and we'll do wills.
Okay.
And for seniors, there's the nice thing about this program for seniors is for most of our programs, they're only for people who are at or below 200% of the federal poverty level.
So do you know offhand what is that 200% poverty level number is?
I know for a single person, I think it's around $16,000.
Okay.
As your total income. As you have family members, that number goes up. Because we have a lot of people who are working full-time, or it's even like both parents working full-time with 3 kids, they'll still qualify for our services.
But let me ask you this question. How do you know if they meet the income level? Do they have to provide some type of W-2s or? So
we'll just talk to them. Sometimes people do have to provide us with like financial evidence.
Okay.
But for the most part, it's an honor system, so we don't want someone, like millionaires coming in, taking advantage of legal services.
Well, we got a lot of millionaires. You don't know they're millionaires, how they look. They know how to be very discreet.
Yeah. We don't want them, they can go and talk to a private attorney and pay a private attorney's rates. They don't get free legal aid, But The exception to that is if you live in Genesee County and you're a senior over the age of 60, we do have separate funding that we can cover those sort of cases. It doesn't matter how much you earn or how much you have in assets or anything like that. So seniors over the age of 60 and also veterans.
Veterans, okay.
We have separate funding for those two groups, so they don't need to
Have
meet our
an
income
income.
requirements.
So that's
Yeah.
basically free for them regardless. But if you are under 65, is it 65?
60.
60. So if you're under 60, you have to meet the income
Yeah,
requirements.
yeah. So it's
Okay.
below 200% of the federal poverty
Okay.
guidelines.
Let's talk about tax foreclosure season. All right. It's almost time. People have received letters if they are 3 years behind in property
Yes.
taxes.
Yes.
Okay. And you receive a letter through the county treasury department. If someone has received a letter, is there something legal services can do to help them?
Yeah, so if you receive a letter, first call us ASAP, call Dr. Wells, and come and meet with me. The best thing that you can do if you're going to, if you're 3 years behind and you've never set up a payment plan or anything like that, you are going to have a court hearing for your property tax foreclosure. That would be, this year between like March and May, I think, is kind of the time. If you go to that hearing, you could lose your home.
Okay.
So you need to get something set up before that time. You can call the Genesee County Treasurer's Office, and most of the time, my experience has been that they do want to work with people.
True. They don't want any more. They don't want to take your homes. They don't want any more homes that they already can't handle now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so one of the things, talk to them, set up a payment plan. If you've been on a payment plan before and you fell off the payment plan, then things can get a little bit tricky. So, if you're in one of my zip codes, come and talk to me.
Okay.
Something else with the property tax foreclosure issue, and this is an issue that we've had right on Maryland Avenue right here with a couple clients.
Okay.
If you are a tenant and your landlord doesn't pay property taxes and the home goes into foreclosure, that's also a situation where it'd be good to talk to us and we can discuss your options.
Okay.
Because while once your home goes into foreclosure, once it's foreclosed on, your landlord no longer owns the home. Now, we have a lot of situations where landlords no longer own the home, but they're still trying to come to the tenants and get rent from them.
Rent. Yes.
So if that's the case, you definitely want to come speak to us.
Okay.
If you're not sure if the home is in foreclosure or not, you can call actually the Genesee County Treasurer's Office, see where it is in that process.
Now, because you're not the homeowner, will they release that information to you?
They should, because you're the occupant.
Okay.
And this is all still matter of public record. These are public hearings.
Okay.
But once the home's been foreclosed on, it'll end up in the possession of the land bank. Sometimes, what we're doing right now is we're working out a deal where we've had tenants who, they were good tenants, they paid their rent to their landlord. Their landlord did not use that rent to pay the property taxes. So the home went into foreclosure. Once it was foreclosed on, the land bank took control of the home. We've worked with the clients now so that they are now buying the home from the land bank.
Wonderful.
And it's this home that they've been living in for the last 3 years. It's their home. They're the ones who keep it nice, have taken care of it. And now they're going to actually be the official owners of that property.
I'm glad you said that because, we've been getting some negative feedback within the community about land bank, but to be able to hear that land bank is also trying to work with you to
people.
keep your home, that's also great to hear about land bank. Let's talk about consumer law.
Yeah, so this is something that I've wanted to talk about because I'm seeing a lot of cases that deal with consumer law issues.
Okay.
And I'm seeing a lot of people who do not know that they have consumer law issues.
So what is consumer law?
So consumer law is if you are dealing with any sort of financial debt situation.
Okay.
So what we commonly see is, someone who bought a car and then they were unable to keep up with the car payments or something like that. The car gets repossessed.
Okay.
Then the the dealership that they bought the car from turns around, even after they repossess the car, they sue for the balance of the judgment. Or if you had like a credit card debt or medical debt, and you were unable to pay, and it goes into collections, and then eventually gets taken to court, and you get a judgment against you. You know, those sort of things are what we're seeing a lot, and people don't know that legal services helps with those areas of law, because a lot of people think, you know, oh, this is just like a financial thing. I need to go talk to, you know, one of these debt management companies, debt relief companies.
They still make you pay for it.
Yeah. You know, before you do that, if you qualify for legal aid, come and talk to us and let's see what we can do, because legal services we don't charge ever. You know, if someone tells you, because we have had situations where people think that they're talking to legal aid and then they get hit with a bill.
Wow.
You know, so there are unscrupulous people in the area who are putting themselves out as being associated with legal services and stuff like that.
Okay.
We will never charge you money. So.
And you never just call an individual asking for money.
No. And, you know, if you get those cold calls from, you know, there's those collection agencies, they can see the public record and see, oh, they got a judgment against them, or, oh, someone filed a lawsuit against them.
So
you know,
is that how they do it? They just look at,
they can scan, you know, they'll have, you know, automated systems that scan the public record, and then they can see, oh, look, boom, 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 these are the people who had cases filed against them today. You know, we're going to cold call them and, you know.
Wow, now I see how the seniors are being taken. Most residents or seniors that's been taken for some of these scams that's going on. So, okay.
Yeah, and not all of them are scams, but it's maybe not the people that you want to talk to first. You know, come and talk to us. We'll look into it, and there's a couple different things we can do if you do have a high debt situation.
Okay.
So if it's at a point before, like where someone's filed a lawsuit against you, but the case hasn't been finished, you know, that's the best time to talk to us, because we can maybe fight the legitimacy of the debt.
Okay.
A lot of times these lawsuits aren't brought by the original holder of the debt. You know, your debt gets sold 3 times over, and it's bought by, you know, pennies on the dollar from one of these debt collection agencies who then take their shot at filing the lawsuit. But if they don't have, you know, all their I's dotted and T's crossed,
that's where you come in.
Maybe we can find something to dispute it. Even if the debt itself is legitimate, a lot of times you can, you know, say, look, if we don't want to take this to trial, you guys don't want to take this to trial, knock down the debt, you know, only pay half of it and do a you know, at no interest. And if we can get that for you, you'll actually be able to get out from underneath it on a payment plan where it's not accruing, you know, enormous amounts of interest and stuff. Now, if you already have a judgment against you, we still have options.
Okay.
A lot of people who have judgments against them find out that, you know, these collection companies can garnish their paycheck. And in Michigan, you're allowed to garnish up to 25% of your gross pay.
Okay.
Not net pay, so not what you take home.
Not what you take home,
you know,
it's what you make.
Yeah, it's what you make on top of that paycheck. And
Wow.
they can take 25% of that through garnishment. You know, that's brutal for most people.
And when we talked about this earlier, I asked you, how does it go? Is it the garnishment, then it's child support? So it's child support first, then it's the garnishment. So that's still a lot of money coming out of the individual's out of their checks.
It can be a huge chunk of your paycheck.
Okay.
What we can do if you're actively being garnished is we can either contact the opposing attorney directly and set up an installment payment agreement so that instead of you being garnished at 25% of your paycheck, you just make one monthly payment of, you know, $100, $150 a month or something like that. And they don't garnish you then.
Got it.
So that's huge, especially for people who like work overtime or something like that. If they're garnishing 25% of that, they're getting a ton of money, you know, that you can't afford. Whereas if you know, okay, it's just going to be a set amount you pay on the monthly, that's not going to be as burdensome. Now, if that doesn't work, sometimes we have situations where it's a large debt. And we see this a lot with people who have medical debt,
Okay.
if you didn't have insurance and you had a serious medical issue, or even honestly with the state of health insurance in this company, even
True,
with insurance,
very much so.
you could have a huge amount of medical debt
Okay.
or another debt, and you wouldn't even be able to make payments on it to satisfy like the interest on it, or you wouldn't be able to pay this off. In that case, we can look into bankruptcy for you.
Okay.
And that would give you a clean slate. So bankruptcy would, if you're doing a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, which is the full liquidation bankruptcy,
Okay.
that would allow you to erase all of those
that.
debts.
Are you over the age of 25 and you haven't graduated from high school? Are you over the age of 30 and you're having problems with basic reading and math calculations? And you need to return to school but you're afraid of the traditional classroom setting? Are you over the age of 50 and you're having problems finding a job because you don't know how to use a computer? Well, don't worry, CHEA Adult Skills Center is here for you. We work with adults aged 25 years of age and older in basic reading, math, GED prep, and computer training. So please give us a call today because CHEA is here to help you. We only have a few seconds left. Let's talk about your driver's license program right quickly. So what is your driver's license program?
Yeah, so for the driver's license program, what we do a lot of is driver's license restoration for people. And if you've lost your license, whether it's because of, past DUI or other traffic offenses, or you just have unpaid tickets, come and talk to us, and we'll see if we can help you out with that.
All righty. You and I can talk all day, but I
I
have
know,
to end
right?
this conversation, so I thank you so much.
Thank you.
Viewers, if you're interested in any information that Taylor has shared with us in the partnership with CHEA and Legal Services of Eastern Michigan, we will have the information for you at the closing of the show. Thank you so much for joining me, and have a great work week. Are you over the age of 25 and you haven't graduated from high school? Are you over the age of 30 and you're having problems with basic reading and math calculations? And you need to return to school but you're afraid of the traditional classroom setting? Are you over the age of 50 and you're having problems finding a job because you don't know how to use a computer? Well, don't worry, CHEA Adult Skills Center is here for you. We work with adults aged 25 years of age and older in basic reading, math, GED prep, and computer training. So please give us a call today because CHEA is here to help you.